Hello?
Yeah,
You're
we're
on,
here. We
Dennis.
are
Oh,
here. I don't hear the music though, but we're here.
I turned it off.
Oh,
It's off now.
all right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, again, welcome to the side, Jawn. This is your host, Dennis Holmes. I am here with my co-host Sharon Mullen, the chocolate girl. How's everything, Sharon?
Everything is lovely in the
Oh,
neighborhood up here in North Carolina.
all right, that's good. We have a special guest in the building, Miss Victoria Jones. How you doing?
I am doing great, guys. How are you?
We're doing fine. We're doing very, very fine. Um, I'm glad to have this interview with you. I was introduced to you by Sharon. I know y'all have such a strong connection. Me, I was just getting to know you. Um, we've been talking, in the pre-meeting before. But one thing I wanted to ask you was, exactly when did you become a sports fan?
I grew up a sports fan ever since I can remember, probably since five, like diehard Cowboys since then. I love all sports. It be basketball. I watch golf, track, field. I watch everything but baseball. And I watch baseball if it's the World Series. But
Okay,
I just love sports, man. Can't play them, but love them.
okay, okay. Now, did you grow up in North Carolina?
No, actually, I was born and partially bred in Long Island, New York. And then my mom and biological father got this bright idea to move us to the country, to the eastern shore of Virginia. And
Okay,
that's where I grew up at.
okay, all right. That's cool. And you became a Cowboys fan out of all the teams that's around.
And it's funny because I'm from New York, so people would think that New York, nope. But my mom is diehard Cowboys. My dad, God rest his soul, diehard Cowboy. My brother is a diehard Cowboy. My brother is such a diehard Cowboy that my nephew is named after Miles Austin, who was one of our receivers.
Mm,
Yep. Yep, you
wow.
So,
do. It's awesome.
like, even when we had my dad's funeral, it was lined up with Cowboys. We had Cowboy colors for everything, the flowers, the wreaths, the jerseys, all of that was made with Cowboys. We die hard.
Wow, that's crazy.
I don't get no
Now
more
my now
diehard than that.
my dad's a diehard Cowboy fan. My grandpa, God rest his soul, diehard Cowboy fan, and my uncle, God rest his soul, diehard Cowboy fan. Um, and yeah, I was the oddball out. I made my decision around like 6 years old. It was an Eagles Cowboys game. Half my house was Eagles, other half was Cowboys.
You
The
had to
Eagles
pick.
ended up beating the Cowboys that day, and that was the day I became an Eagles fan. Now I
Ah,
didn't I didn't realize till I got older that most of the women on my side were Eagle fans because of Randall Cunningham. I didn't realize that
that's
till I got
right.
older.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. You got to support our black QBs, man, and he was one of the first.
yeah, he was. I mean, I love Dak Prescott though.
I like Dak Prescott. I
With the
think we overpaid him, but that's my opinion.
Oh
Um,
Lord, here we go. Where the drink at? Where the drink? She's
I,
starting
I,
out with.
I, I do. You're paying him like Russell Wilson, and Russell Wilson has won a Super Bowl. Russell Wilson has gone deep in the playoffs. Russell Wilson has gone to two Super Bowls. Like I said, won one of them. Could have won the second one had Pete Carroll and them not played that stupid game because they didn't want Marshall Lynch to run it in.
Preach.
Neither here nor there. So I just don't. I love him. Like I said, I support all my black QBs. But no, I think he's good. I just don't think he's there yet.
Mm, 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 mm.
And that's just me being honest. It's my opinion. I know my other Cowboys fans will be like, "You're not a true." Yes, I am, but I don't have to agree with everything that goes on with the team.
That's right.
Wow,
They prepaid him, is what you're saying.
wow.
They prepaid
Yes,
him.
they
Hmm.
prepaid him, and he hasn't done enough to warrant it.
Hmm.
I personally think he has.
Oh,
Um,
why?
I'm a real big Dak fan. It's kind of weird that I'm so much of a Dak fan. I really didn't want y'all to pay him. To be honest with you, I wanted him to go somewhere else so I could love him a little bit more. But I,
That's sad.
he really, to me, I felt as though like he did as much as he could do to make that team better. Like there's a lot of Cowboy fans out here still deadly in love with Tony Romo.
Oh, I
And in my
hated Tony
eyes,
Romo. I thought he was garbage.
yeah, in my eyes, he's better than Tony Romo. But if
He
you
is
talking,
better than Tony Romo.
I mean, he was way overpaid to me,
I agree.
and
I agree.
that's why I said in my eyes, if you look back at it, it's still some Cowboy fans out here to this day that think that Tony Romo's better than Dak.
I know.
Yeah,
I've come across them, and I don't think that Tony Romo. I think Dak has definitely a better IQ than Romo. He has a better arm than Romo, more accuracy. He can maneuver in and out of the pocket. But I just wanted him to, for me, take me farther in the playoffs. I get so tired of us getting knocked off after the first round. Don't tell me, oh, we had a bye, so you made it to the second round. No, you had a bye, so that don't count. You got knocked off the first game you played. So I
right.
just want to see him do more. I think last year he would have had a great year had he not gotten hurt. If you look at his numbers and what he was putting up before he got injured, but I just feel like I said, it's just my opinion. I just want him to show me a little more.
Okay, I
And we
agree.
need, and a lot of it, our defense is horrible. Our secondary is garbage.
Shaky, shaky, a little shaky. But let me get back to you. I can't keep going these Cowboys. Let me get back. Let me get back to you because this interview is about you. Now, I know that you are an entrepreneur, and we actually love entrepreneurs here. When did you start your entrepreneurship?
I actually started it in 2018.
Wow.
Yes,
So what was the
yes.
first business you owned?
My first business I owned was Favi LLC, and I had a DBA doing called Favi Life Coaching because I was a life coach to professional athletes.
Uh,
So
wow.
that
Who's okay? I'm gonna let you go ahead. Keep going. All right.
so that's where my start came in at.
All right. That's nice. So who was the first, like one of the athletes you had? One of the couple?
Because of confidentiality, you can't say who it is, but certain
Oh,
of them will tell it. But I can't sit and say, oh, so and so and so and so, because we still have to follow the same ethic codes of that confidentiality just because of the things that we talk about.
I do
Got you.
understand. But from your life coaching and your first business, and to now you owning a basketball team is pretty amazing. Now, how did you get into that business?
It was a journey, and I have to say it started with in North Carolina we actually have a pro basketball team called the Raleigh Firebirds. Um,
Mhm.
and Wade Harris is the owner of that team. I was fresh out of school because that for coaching, and a friend of mine's Chuck was like asking me, what I was going to do. And I was like, I want to work with pro athletes. He's like, oh, we have a pro team in North Carolina. No, I didn't know that. And he introduced me to Wade, and Wade gave me an opportunity to work with the team. And when I started working with the team, things started progressing. So I started working with the team in 2019. And then just before, in December of 2019, he came to me. He was like, hey, do you want to become certified in financial literacy? I was like, of course. He was like, well, the league is going to pay for it. Bet, even better.
Wow.
So in
Sure.
in February, I became certified in financial literacy, but and then COVID hit, so everything shut down. Um, the league shut down, everything shut down for me. And then in about July 2020, the owner of the league, Miss Evelyn, who I love to death, she called me. I love to life, I should say, not to death. But she called me and she was like, "Hey, I know you did the course and you got certified. I was wondering if you'd be interested in being a director of the financial literacy program that I want to start for the league." I was like, "Of course." I was like, "Of course." So she's like, "And it's going to be you and you and Aaron. You two are going to be co-directors." And I was like, "Great, perfect, love it." And so that progressed, and I put the curriculum together. Aaron, he backed off. He no longer wanted to be a part of it, and I stayed a part. And she was like, "You know what? you have to be the vice president. She's like, that has to be your title. And that's how I became the vice president of the financial literacy for the league. And so then I met my significant other, and he was like, yo, you should have your own team. I was like, hmm. He was like, yeah, we should start a team. And I was like, okay, if you want to do it, let's do it. So I called Mr. Magley, and I was like, I know somebody who wants to start a team, and he's like, where? I said, in Tallahassee. He was like, oh, okay. And so I was talking, I was like, I'm gonna be one of the co-owners. It's gonna be me. And he was like, done.
Wow.
You got it. And it literally went like that, just blessings.
That's definitely amazing.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, that's definitely amazing. I'm glad to hear that you actually own a team. This is actually a real good interview. Now,
And tell
the
everybody
league
what the name of your
starts.
team is. What's the name
Oh,
of your team?
The name of my team is the Tallahassee Southern Kings. It's myself and Damian Jackson, who's my significant other. He and I are the two co-owners of the team.
Awesome. Go ahead, Dennis. That was my only question right now.
no. I was gonna ask her when does the league start? That's what I was gonna ask her.
Well, we're finishing up now. We're in our semi conference, our finals. So our season will start next year in April. This year didn't start until actually our season will start next year in March because it didn't start until April this year due to COVID. But next year we'll go back to our regular time and we'll start in March, and that's when our team will be debuted. Then that's when we'll play our first game.
Okay. Now, do you have players already on your team, or you don't start yet? Y'all have a draft?
We haven't started. We're actually going down because the league is having their first summer league, and it's going to be in Vegas during the same time as the NBA summer league. So that's cool. So we'll be there in August 8th, and I'm also going to be holding up some financial literacy workshops at the same time. I'm going to be doing that, and we'll be down there, and we'll be recruiting players then. And we'll have our first combine where we'll recruit players in September.
Yeah, that's great.
Beautiful.
That is great. So, in the summer league, you just watch players play, and then you realize which ones you want on your team. That's pretty
Pretty
cool.
much.
That's pretty
Yes.
cool. It's like a nice recruiting progress. That is nice.
Yes.
That is nice. Another thing I wanted to ask you about the league. How long has the league been in existence with Miss Evelyn?
The league with Miss Evelyn. So the league started back in, I want to tell you, it was either 2016 or 2017. And the reason why I get it, because the league at first was attached to something else, another league. That league went under. And you have to hear Miss Evelyn's story about how she created the league. You'll always hear her say it's a God-given vision. And so the league started in 2000, I want to say 17 per se, and it had 4 teams. 2018, it had 12 teams. 2020, the league grew to 30 some teams during COVID.
Wow.
It almost tripled during COVID. Next year, it'll have 45 teams right now, set up for 2022.
Looking at the website, that's true. It's around 45 teams.
Yes.
Now, again, back to your entrepreneurship. During your entrepreneurship, I would say, life. What have been some of the struggles that you've been through?
Oh man, the struggles have been, one, getting your clients, two, believing that I could do it. I'm Sherry knows me. I'm very strong-willed, but when you're venturing out on your own and it's just you, because I was single at that time, and it's just you, the fear is there. It's not easy because you still got to eat, you still got to pay your mortgage, you still got to pay your car payments, but here you are with this new baby. But my attitude was, if I can go and make them rich, let me put that in myself. So that was the struggle of getting that self-confidence up to myself. And I came up with the model of, I'm tired of asking them for a seat at their table. I'm going to create my own table. So once I got over that mental block of, I can do this, it just went from there. And I never gave up. I was working two jobs, and I want a lot of people to understand that even though you start your business, it doesn't mean that you quit your job, because your business has to become self-sufficient where it can sustain you. So I literally would go to work at 7:30 in the morning, get off, might have meetings with players at 5 o'clock, 9, 10 o'clock at night to do it all over again. Sometimes I'm out and I'm meeting with agents and I'm meeting with coaches, and with athletes, people don't understand their schedules are so crazy. So an agent might call me and say, hey, all the agents are getting together. Hey, come on out. And it's like 10 o'clock at night. So at 10 o'clock at night, here you are out, but you got to be to work the next day. But your drive, your determination makes it so that you don't care. You're going to do it. You have to be willing to grind. You have to be willing to sometimes put in 16 hours a day. And that's what I had to do. And I was blessed with my sons, who was always motivators for me. Mommy, you got this. Mommy, you can do this. Mommy, if anybody can do it, you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely beautiful. I know what you mean about that, wanting a seat at their table. Like, there's been times I've been at the job and it was like I felt as though I was upset that I didn't get a certain position that I wanted, or I didn't move up the ladder like I should have. Like you'll be sitting there and you didn't move up to a certain spot in the ladder, but then the person they put ahead of you don't know nothing that they doing, and it's all because they know the family or something like that, and now you missed out on the opportunity to help the company out, and you like, well, why didn't I get that position? You beat yourself up about it until you start realizing you like, you know what, I gotta get out of here. I just can't be here. I gotta get out of
And exactly. And then you factor, if you're a black woman, they say we're angry. Every time we voice our opinion or we say something or we disagree, we're angry black woman. No, I'm an educated black woman, and I'm not going to just agree with everything just because you said it. Don't mean that it's right.
here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not angry, you know, and I look at it from this standpoint, and I try to preach entrepreneurship to everybody, to my sons of this young group, and I tell them, I said, when you are not an owner, somebody is dictating where you live, what time you can spend with your kids,
Mm,
when you can take your kids to the doctor,
mm,
when you can go to your kids' game, how much you're going to eat, when you're going to eat. That's too much control for somebody to have over your life, because they're controlling your life
Absolutely.
and your kids' life. And you're going to best believe they're going to make sure that your kids cannot go to school where their kids go, because they're not going to pay you that much. You're making them rich and they're dictating. You got to ask them permission to take your kid to the doctor because he's sick.
right. And if you
That's
and if
right.
you take them to the doctor, now you must have a note from the doctor,
To
and
Exactly.
prove.
I
you need
Uh-huh.
evidence.
Yep.
exactly. I gotta ask you permission to raise my kid.
Yeah,
No.
and it's
And
you're definitely right about that. Man, you,
You're
you put
right.
that right on the nose.
Mm-hmm.
Sharon, you got anything, Sharon? I'm kind of
Well,
stuck now. She hit home on that.
it kind of make you step back a moment, doesn't it?
Right, make think about it.
So,
I don't know if I'm
what
going
would
back to work now. Now that she said that, I don't.
what would be the number one um I don't like to use the word thing because that's so vague. But what's the number one thing, for lack of a better word, I can think of at the moment that you held on to when you were starting out as an entrepreneur? What was the one thing that you held on to that helped that you would recommend others hold on to? in order to be successful as an entrepreneur? What's the
Your
one?
why.
Yeah.
Your why.
Mm-hmm.
You take your why, you put it everywhere that you go. You have your why written down, so that when things get hard and you go back and you look at that why, it remotivates you. It regenerates you. So ask yourself, what is your why?
So visualization is true and it's important to you. Would you say
Yeah,
that, Victoria?
definitely. I, I
Yeah.
would definitely say that, because you can have an idea, right? And it's just an
Mhm.
idea when you're thinking about it. But when you start to write that stuff down, it becomes powerful. You start to give it life.
Got you.
So that's why you need them both. I have cue cards that I have written down, and I say, I am creating generational wealth. I am creating a legacy. I am successful. Speaking those things, hearing it come out of my mouth to go to my brain so that it registers to me. You have to constantly encourage yourself. Have faith and belief in yourself, because if you don't have it in you, you can't expect anybody else to have it in you.
I got you. There are a lot of people out there that allows fear to cripple them and hold them back from realizing whatever their dream is, whatever their why is. What advice would you give them to overcome that so they can do what you just described?
The best thing that I can tell you to overcome that, sit back, look at your paycheck, and you see what you're getting paid. Ask yourself, what is your true value? Because if he's willing to pay you $50,000 a year, what is your true value? Your true value is at least triple that. When
Mm.
you ask yourself that, you'll help come over your fear. What is your self-worth? My Damien says this all the time. Know your worth. And if you know your worth, then it helps you overcome that fear, because you know what you're worth. So that fear kind of goes to the back. You can't have fear when you know I'm worth $1 million. Then I can't have fear.
Mm.
Got you. Okay. What brought you to the basketball league? That's the name of the league that the Tallahassee team will be under. Brought you to that particular team
What brought me to
or
that
that
league?
league? Yeah, that league. Mm-hmm.
Miss Evelyn, Miss Evelyn Magley. You know, God leads first in this league. We can use God, say God, pray. We can do everything. We don't have to be ashamed. And for me, that's huge, because if I tell people all the time, if I can't bring God with me, then I'm not welcome there. And with this league, we do so, and it's not just about the players playing basketball. It is about developing these players to be great, not just on the court, but most importantly, off the court.
Mm-hmm.
It's a hashtag a different league, because it is a different league. We Our goal in this league is to make sure that our players, our coaches become better, our TMOs become better, because we want them to go to that next level. We're a feeder league. We want our players to only play for us for a year and go overseas, go to the G League, preferably go to the NBA. We're not about bottle capping them, but we don't want to just send them off. We want to make sure they're developed. We want to make sure they understand financial literacy. We want to make sure that they understand how to present themselves. We want to make sure they understand to know their worth. You know, so we're about development. Each one of our teams has its own chaplain, and we're not telling anybody that you have to be affiliated with God because we respect everybody's everything, but that door is there for you. You know, they welcome having life coaches in the league to work with these players.
Okay. That's such a positive message. There's a quote from you on the website, on the league website, that says that you say the financial literacy and personal development program is a key component of the player's personal development. Talk a little bit more about that and what role it plays. Why is financial literacy so important?
You know, financial literacy is so important, especially to our people, my culture, Black, and people of color, because we aren't taught finances. Life teaches us about finances.
Mm-hmm.
I want these players to understand what money means and how money works for them and how it can work against them. And until you understand money, you cannot grow because your money is going on different things. Like one of my analogies that I always give my players, I'm like, you will go and pay $500 for a pair of AirPods versus taking that $500 and owning a quarter of a share of that stock. How does your money work for you? We don't understand that because we haven't been taught that.
Sure haven't. Preach on it.
We have not. You look at a lot of the athletes, especially the Black athletes. They make millions of dollars, and once they come out of the league, they're broke.
Mm-hmm.
Why? No financial literacy, no personal development. I always say, I work off of this: faith, family, transparency equals your victory. And the reason why I say that is because it all goes together. That's part of their personal development. If they don't know who they are, because most athletes, all they know is that particular sport that they're in. No, you are more than an athlete. Who are you? You
Mm-hmm.
got to understand who you are. You have to understand that financial literacy. How does your money work for you? Most of our players in our league have a regular job and they play and they get paid in our league. What are you doing with that money that you're making in our league? Because that should be your money that you're using for investing. That should be your money that you're using to pay down your debt. But if you don't understand how to invest, then you're not going to do it. Who teaches it to us?
The main part of your financial literacy, would you say it's more about having how money can work for you, or is it more about saving? Because those are two different concepts.
It's it's
So
and it's
just to know, what is it primarily focused on for these players?
for me.
You hit the mute button.
You hit the mute button
I apologize. My
accidentally.
phone was ringing. It's a
Okay,
whole
that's all
it's
right.
a whole concept. It starts with the financial psychology. Because if you don't start with the financial
Mm-hmm.
psychology and for them to understand what influences them to spend their money, what motivates them to spend their money, then you can't get them to the savings part. So it's a whole curriculum. So
Got
you
you.
got to start with the financial psychology. You got to make them understand what motivates them, what causes them to spend their money, who influenced them to spend their money, when did it start. So you start there. Then you can go to the credits and the debits so that they can understand the difference between that credit card with that interest rate versus this credit card with that interest rate. So you take them, it's a whole
Mhm.
process. So the savings is important, but how can you save if you don't understand how you're spending your money?
Yeah, and then you with the credit cards, not only do you have to look at the interest rate, the rewards
Exactly.
programs that are attached to them
Exactly.
Right.
can work for you so well. That's one of the things that's always been like a murky area for me, the rewards and how they work. But I know people who lived off their rewards when they were going through a hard time during the recession way back in 2008 to 2010. They
And
lived
some
off
of
of
the
it.
reward, you
So,
can pay your credit card off with it. You can use it
right,
to pay towards your
with the
credit card bill
rewards.
with the
Oh, let me
reward.
let me let me ask a question. And since we're gonna hold on, let me ask a quick question. I'm gonna let you go right back, Shan. So, what would you say is the best credit card to get when you're starting your business?
I'm going to tell you the best card to get is whatever bank that you're affiliated with, because you have to have your business account. And I tell you to start with that bank, get their card. And the reason why is because you want to establish that relationship with that bank. So when you walk in there, they know who you are. You build that relationship with them. So when you need things, guess what? They're more apt to work with you. But if you go over here and get this card over here, they don't know you.
Hmm.
Like when we went to go get our business card, we set up our bank with who we use, and we go in there now. And it's like we wanted to set up our get our card, and they was like, "Oh, you're gonna have to come back another day," because they didn't know who we were. But when the person who set us up, so she's like, "Oh no, you come on in right now. We're gonna go ahead and take care of it." So you get your credit card through the bank that you have your business set up with. They're going to tell you the best card to get. They're going to tell you which one's the best rate. They're going to tell you which one has the best rewards because you have that relationship with them. You have that rapport.
All right. Thank you for that.
So even in financial literacy, relationships is important,
Yes,
especially when you're talking about creating your own table, like you were
yes,
saying earlier. Yeah, we tend to ask for a seat at their table, but their table's already established. So you just need to let them know, let them see you from their table. But then you're using whatever relationship you have with that table to create your own table. Am I
bingo.
am I hearing you correctly on that?
You are correct because eventually, guess what they're going to ask you for? A seat at your table.
Your own table. That's correct.
And
Hmm.
that's the ultimate
Wow.
goal. Stop asking them for a seat at their table. Create your table. And I promise you, they're going to come and ask you for a seat at your table.
Oh, wow.
Mm, mm.
That's really, really important to learn. Um, is it ever too late to start with financial literacy?
No, no. I I am 48 years old and I'm still learning.
Hmm.
I'm
She don't look at
still
she
learning.
don't let me just say, y'all, she doesn't look a day over 30.
She
I just want
she
to make
damn
that
sure
point.
don't.
But go ahead.
I
You
was
know,
surprised when you told me that she had two kids that was my age. I was like, I did not know she was that old.
I
Right.
am, I am, I am 48. I will tell you, it is not too old to start your own. It is, it's never too late to start your own. It is never too late to get financial literate. And even when you become literate, you still learn things. Like I was like, oh, a lot of people don't know you're supposed to pay yourself first.
Hmm.
How many of us pay ourselves first? Nope, we pay our bills first. Pay
That's true.
yourself first.
I
You
always pay.
pay,
I always pay myself last.
no, and
Hmm.
that's why you never have anything.
Yeah.
You
Hmm.
ever wonder why I'm getting the crumbs and everybody else is getting the bulk? You pay yourself first. So you decide, you know what? If I'm making $5,000 a week, I'm gonna pay myself 20%. So I'm gonna pay myself off the top. Then I'm gonna pay everything else. So when you pay yourself off the top, then you start to understand what money you have left to do things.
Hmm.
But we don't do that.
So where does living within your means come to play in all of this? Living within your means. Here's
It,
where
it,
I'm going with that. You were just talking about paying yourself first. So let's just use your 20% example. So if I'm earning $5,000 a week, I'm going to pay myself 20% of that every week. Then that means 80% of that is what I need to live off of. So
that's
my
right.
bills, my living expenses don't need to total more than that. Am I
Exactly.
hearing you correctly
You
on
are
that?
hearing me correctly.
Okay.
Because if you
So when you're
think of
dealing with these athletes and you have to talk to them about their means, how does that conversation go
it, it
when
can
you
be
talk to them about
entertaining.
that?
It can be entertaining because a lot of it, and people think, oh, these guys don't want, these guys love this information. They eat it up because who thinks
Mhm.
about paying yourself first? Nobody. And understand what living off your
Mhm.
means are. That 80%, so that means that 20% that you paid you're not touching that. That's in your savings account. So when you make them see it from that standpoint, it's like, so you mean I can put up, if I'm making 5,000 a week, I can put up like 4,000 in my yes, sir. Because your 80% is supposed to cover everything else. But we're the other way around. And it's just getting them, it's retraining them. You know,
Mhm.
we are we're not taught, and I tell them education is the key. As long as you're uneducated, I can always manipulate you.
Mm.
It's when you become educated, I can't manipulate you the same way because now you're looking at me sideways like, wait a minute, that don't make sense. Now you're starting to question things.
Got you.
And that's what they're not understanding. It's like even when you go in to negotiate your pay for a job, if you don't know your value, you're gonna get underpaid. I've been underpaid a lot
Mhm.
because I
Have
didn't stop to
mercy.
think about my value, my self-worth.
Yeah. Yeah. Where did we meet, Victoria? We won't talk about that. But yeah,
You know
you're
where we
right.
met? Exactly. Underpaid, underpaid,
You're right.
undervalued,
You're right.
but overworked.
That's correct. That's
You
right.
know, and it's so
That's right.
easy when you're uneducated. And it doesn't mean that we're dumb because we're not dumb by absolutely no means. But when we were growing up, we were taught go to school, get a job. Go to school,
Mm-hmm.
get a job.
Right.
Nothing in between there. Nothing. And it was so much in between. It's like we got the two slices of bread, but none of the meat and vegetables that go on top of it, in between it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so much more. And that's what I get the players to understand. It's more to get a job, go to school, and get a job.
Well, let me ask you another question. Do you discuss the importance of insurance,
Yes,
mainly life insurance, in your as part of your curriculum?
we talk about life insurance, car insurance, health insurance, mortgage
Mm-hmm.
insurance. We talk about all of it. And let me explain why. Because people don't understand the value of insurance, especially life insurance. Most Black people, we don't have life insurance.
Mm.
That's a waste of money. No, it's not. That's a burden that you're taking off of your loved ones.
Yes, it
That's
is.
correct.
We don't have adequate
That's correct.
car insurance because I don't want to pay all that money. Okay, you go out here and you get in an accident and your policy can't cover it. Guess who paying? Out your pocket. There you go.
That's right.
You don't have
We
the
know
proper
about that too well,
too well.
don't we?
You don't have medical insurance. Do you know how important medical insurance is? Dental
Yes.
insurance.
Mm-hmm.
So I,
Be,
I I make them understand that's an investment. I
mm-hmm.
don't care if you never need it. It's one of the best investments that you can ever make with your money.
I knew a while back, I can't remember how long ago. I don't remember what pro athlete this was concerning, but that was the first time that I learned that many pro athletes don't carry insurance of any type. Like they didn't have it was something happened to them medically, and for some reason they didn't have medical insurance. And I was like, wait a minute, doesn't the league provide that? I don't think they do. And that's when I first learned about that. And I was like, what is going I didn't realize that. And it just, you would just think, if you're making $30 million, here I am, Sharon Mullen, making X amount of dollars, struggling to pay for health insurance, and you making 30 million and you just choose not to. I don't understand it.
Because one, they think I got $30 million. I don't need it. I can pay for my stuff, but they don't understand medical bills can make you go bankrupt.
Yes. They're one accident or one condition away from losing all 30 million of those dollars. Period.
Exactly. Exactly.
And especially if they have like a catastrophic chronic illness, it really
Exactly.
can be worse. And no one can predict that,
No,
and then they could
no.
get injured. We always talk about athletes and the risk of injury, and that could cancel everything. So then what?
And that's why when I start working with the athletes, the first thing I tell them, let's focus on life after basketball, because tomorrow is not promised. What is your
That's good.
plan? What's your plan B? And if you got a plan B, then now we need to work on C and D and E.
Yeah, because one
Mhm.
one of the best examples out there is like Jamal Jamal Mashburn. You know how successful he is, and Shaquille O'Neal. You know those guys are they got into
Exactly.
businesses and got their money making money.
Eh, Your
Yeah.
money is supposed to make money while you sleep.
As a matter of fact, while you've been talking today, I have been thinking about Shaquille O'Neal a lot, because these were lessons that his mom told him and his stepdad told him about his money, especially his
Yes.
mom. He talks about it now, how his mom told him, you don't need to go out here spending all that like that. No, you don't have to do that. This is how you do it. And he has said in interviews, listening to his mom, that was the main piece of advice. And he is so glad he listened to her and he followed.
Yeah.
And now he has this legacy. His children are set for life. His grandchildren are set for life, actually. Unless they
Exactly.
squander it, they're set because of the
Exactly.
choices that he has made now. That's generational wealth. And you cannot be proud of that, you
You
know?
cannot. I
Mm-hmm.
stay on my sons. I've always talked to them about credit. Live
Mm-hmm.
below your means, not above your means.
Mm-hmm.
I stay on them about that because it's important. And I wasn't taught that. I mean, don't get me wrong. My parents did a great job,
Mm-hmm.
but it was those key things that they didn't teach that I said I'm gonna make sure mine understand this.
Mm-hmm.
I had that conversation with my sister. She got we had a big like conversation because my grandma owned a restaurant when we was young. Nappy Nicky's Soul Food Restaurant. She owned the restaurant when we was young, and my sister was like, "Well, why didn't nobody teach us about getting LLCs as we was growing up, and the importance of owning your own business with an LLC?" I said, "I don't remember nobody even talking about LLCs
That
until
limited
I got
liability.
about 20 years old."
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I
Me
said, I
too.
said nobody we hung around talked about LLCs. People talking about having their own businesses, but nobody
And they
talked
don't,
about the importance of the LLC.
Right.
because the LLC protects your personal. So when you go to sue me, you can only sue my LLC. You
Right.
can't
Right.
touch my
Can't
personal
touch my
stuff.
personal. Mm-hmm.
But that goes back to insurance, and people don't understand. When you start owning businesses and things, you need to have it's like a balloon type of insurance, where it's $1 million policy that you have, like that's on your home and stuff. And the reason being is because I come to your house and I know you got businesses, right? I trip and fall. Guess what? I'm gonna sue. I'm gonna try to sue your business.
Mm-hmm.
But if I have enough of my homeowners, guess what? You just touch my homeowners, you're not gonna mess with the rest of it.
And
Taking that,
Victoria, what's so funny is that most people don't understand how inexpensive a balloon policy is.
they don't.
It's
They
so
don't.
inexpensive. It's like renter's insurance and rental car coverage. Those two things are so inexpensive, and people are like, "What? You mean for this much a month? I could have had that?" And
But
and they're stunned when they realize it.
again, nobody's. It goes back to education.
Right.
Yeah.
Goes back to
So
that education.
Nobody's
And we
teaching
need
that
more
balloon policy.
Victoria Jones in the world. We need more of
Right.
you.
That's exactly what we need
How
in
can we
schools, not
create?
just the world. In schools, they need
How
to
can
start
we
teaching this in
create?
schools. Like
I
I
am
Yeah.
believe
trying.
trigonometry needs to be taught in school, but this stuff
I,
here
Hmm.
need to be.
I am trying to get this program into schools when I in Tallahassee, because that poverty rate is horrible for us. So I that's one of my goals when I get out there is to try to get this program into the schools. And people think, oh, you start with high school. No,
No,
no.
no, you
The
don't start
younger
with
you
high
start,
school.
the
Uh-uh.
younger you start with them, the better off they are because they can
No.
start going home and teaching their parents. I tell
It's so,
people they look at these athletes and they're like, oh, they making all of this money and I don't know how they squander it. Well, if their parents, they're making more money than their parents have made in their whole life. Matter of fact, they're making more money than their whole neighborhood made. How do you think
hmm
they're gonna understand how money works? Because ain't nobody there to teach it to them. So you
That's
got to
Then
right.
start when
and
they're
then
young, because
and then
Hmm.
and then you got to remember a lot of people. I'm one of them. Once they start making money, they start getting things that they always wanted as kids.
Hmm.
and
So that's the
that's a
foolish
good
hobby
point.
that we have.
Yeah, that's the and the thing is, when that desire for that thing that they never had supersedes any form of discipline that's needed.
But
And see, that's the thing, that the discipline, you don't even think about the discipline that you need to have in getting those things. All you think about is the fact that you've never had it.
And
And
you
since
always
you
wanted it.
since you're now 30 years old and you're finally able to get it, to
but
you, to the person,
but
it feels like they've been waiting for 30 years to get it. That's
and
their discipline, but that is not it.
it is not, and it's, you got to
Mhm,
go even further back, and you got to think about, in our culture, we're taught that what we have determines who we are. That's our
mhm.
status. That's how you represent yourself, and that's really not true. That's how you get in debt. That's why they're saying keeping up with the Joneses. I tell these athletes all the time, y'all will go out and buy a Beamer. Y'all will go out and buy Mercedes. You go buy all these high cars, and all they do is depreciate. Go invest in a house, something that's going to give you money.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Stop
people
putting your
who
money where
there's a
you're
lot
not
of
going to get.
people who rent homes driving around in a Mercedes, but they're renting their home.
Exactly. You living in the projects, but you pulling up with a Benz. I'm confused.
I'm
I'm
confused.
That
confused.
that confused me so much when I was younger. I didn't understand it, but if you wanted to
Hmm.
see anything that you haven't seen before, go to the project.
They,
Hmm.
That's all I knew.
they
22
call
inch
it
rims.
hood rich. You're hood rich, but you have nothing to show for it because that car is not appreciating, y'all. That car is depreciating. All that car is going to do is take. That's it. Them
That's right.
Jordans you
That's
buying,
right. Hmm. They
they
do a
going to
lot of
take.
flossing. They do a lot of flossing, but flossing doesn't give you a future. And that's
Exactly.
what I always say. Flossing doesn't give you future.
It's like I tell people, go buy yourself a home, get a home, but don't go and buy this. Go buy a foreclosure. Do you know why it's important to buy a foreclosure? If you buy your house as a foreclosure, as soon as you sign your name on that paper, you put some paint on the wall, some new appliances in, guess what you've built? Equity.
Appreciate equity right there.
And you know what you can do with that equity? Because they don't want us
Flip
to
it.
get educated. Our kids got to take out all these loans and all of this. No, go borrow the money from yourself. Go take out a home equity line of credit.
That's
Send your
right.
kids to school. So when you're paying somebody back, you're paying yourself back. But you're getting your kids an education. And I ain't got to ask you for nothing. Again, I'm creating my own table.
Hmm.
I'm not begging y'all any longer to give me a seat at your table. No.
I love
And
it.
that's where
I
we
love
have
it.
to get. Stop asking for a seat at their table. And I you, you know, I tell Damien all the time, because he's always saying, know your worth, know your worth, know your worth. And it's so important.
Does Damien,
Speak.
does he have any like brothers that's single? Does he,
He
good
does.
friends? that
Oh,
See
single
that?
this
that
this
thinks
is
like that's
this is the
looking,
Yes.
side Jawn, not the love connect.
that's
Look,
okay. We'll talk afterwards, Victoria, because I
but
need somebody in my
speaking of
life like that.
Yeah, no,
speaking of
he's been my
Damien, the sports
blessing. He's
guru in the
been
building.
Damien has been a blessing to me
Hmm.
because I've been doing this entrepreneurship by myself. Don't get me wrong, my sons, they be in my corner. They be, Mom, you got this. But it's nothing like that significant other that believes in you, encourages you, and be like, babe, do this. Babe, hey, what you and so that further solidifies that, you know what, I got this.
Hmm. I'm telling you, as single parent, Dennis, you can relate. I was gonna say single mom, but you're a single dad, and as a single parent, our children, I tell you, the blessings and the motivation and the encouragement that we get from our children
Whew,
is just unmatched. It's just
it is.
unmatched. And I tell you, that little boy, my son, who's now 27, be 28 on Tuesday, he has motivated me and carried me through some dark times. My own
Yes,
son, he didn't
yes,
know it. He never knew it because, as parents, we don't burden them with that carrying, right?
exactly,
But for
exactly.
us on our insides, they give it to us, they carry us, and I tell you, they're so important. But it's good that you found a significant other. It seems like you guys vibe and you're marching. When you guys look out the window, you see the same things. And I
Yes,
always say that that's the kind of man I want. I want a man I can stand in the window with and look out, and we both see the same things.
That's
yes.
nice. That is
We
beautiful. That
we
is
have
Yeah.
beautiful.
the same vision, and
Mhm.
and I tell especially us as black women and black men, we always got to see ourselves, and Damien says it too, king and queens. That's your king, that's your queen. Your kids, if it's a boy, that's your prince. Your girls, that's your princess. Start teaching them that from day one,
Mhm.
so that they know what they're going out there
Yep.
to look for. For a long time, it's just been me and my sons. Jan, you know this.
I
Um,
know. Your beautiful
and
sons. That's what I call them. You have some beautiful sons. And they
and
love their mama.
and those have been my ride or dies. Those
Hmm.
are the ones like mom. Hey, yay, you got this, mom. Like, don't, you got it. And that was my blessing. That
Right.
God's gift to me for those boys, because when I
Hmm.
wanted to give up, they wouldn't let me give up.
They don't let you. And shout out to my son Daryl. He never lets me give up. He's my biggest cheerleader. I believe in you, mom. You can do anything you want to do. I've seen you do it. I've seen you overcome.
Yes,
And
Yeah.
when you can show your child that you never give up, and how you fight through things and you
what message are you sending them?
achieve things, the message that, yep, when you see that and you see it's revealed to you, back to you in their words, nothing like it. Nothing
Yes,
like it.
That
yes.
Nothing
is
like it. But
beautiful.
Dennis, we don't have much time. I want you to get to your questions.
Well, let me ask one first, and then I'll get to that. Now, how did you two ladies meet?
Horse Man Insurance Company. We used to work together.
We worked in a claims department for an insurance company in auto claims.
Wow.
And I worked on the injury side and she worked on the property damage side. But when you came, didn't you do rental for a minute? Was that you? Or
Mm-mm.
did you do you just did property damage? Okay,
I did
yeah.
just property damage.
She was on the property damage side, I was on the injury side. Yeah, and we became good friends. Love me
Yep.
some Victoria.
And I love me some. Look, I love me some Sharon. I mean, we've always had good times together.
Hmm.
You
Right.
know,
And
it's nothing like.
we're similar. We're similar people in that we love hard, we work hard, we play hard, but we also don't take no crap hard. We just don't do it. We have little tolerance for crap. That's where we are.
Yes,
And then we're
That's,
mothers of sons, and I know that connected us too.
yes,
and y'all both big sports fans.
Both big sports
all day.
Both big
fans.
sports fans. Yeah.
Hmm. Yep.
I
Yep.
don't know how
Big
much good
sports
friends
fan.
y'all would have been in '96, but y'all both good sports fans. You know what I mean?
Then we would have still been friends. We just wouldn't have been friends during the season.
That's right.
We
It's
would have
just
been a friendship
see,
divided.
this is me. I'm a Steelers fan. Everybody knows I'm a Steelers fan, but I love the Cowboys, except for when they play the Steelers. That's just the
Exactly.
way it is. When you play the Steelers, I don't know who you are. I don't know you. I don't
Exactly.
know you.
I like the Steelers because we got a head coach. He's black. I support all my black.
Oh
But
my
when they play in the
gosh.
Cowboys,
And
hey, sorry,
Tomlin is
not your friend.
whew, Tomlin is not hard to look at either. Woo. But
Exactly.
anyway,
Not
but
hard
he's
on
a
And
the eyes.
he's an excellent coach. So
He is.
yeah, I root for the Cowboys. Okay. Hmm.
I root for that.
I,
Yeah,
I,
This is,
I,
I'm
I
definitely
understand.
for that. I'm definitely
I'm
all
all
for
for
that.
that. I'm all for that.
Hmm.
yeah, I root for that. But what you being a Cowboys fan, I do have to ask these questions. Now, when did I do have to ask you again because this is part of the question process, but who is your favorite Cowboy of all time?
You know, he's not a player, but he's my Tom Landry,
Okay.
that coach. He started that dynasty. Y'all, and people can say anything they want. Go back and look at his history.
Hmm.
Okay. All right. So if you was to name your top 5 Cowboys of all time that are not currently on your team, who would they be?
Tony Dorsett,
Oh Lord.
Hmm.
Emmett Smith,
Hmm.
Michael Irvin, Leon Lett,
About time.
and Randy White. No, actually, I got to go with Daryl Johnson, tight
Okay.
end.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Daryl Moose Johnson. Okay.
All right. That's a
Um,
real Cowboys fan right there. That's a real
she was the
Cowboys
first
fan.
one I heard mention Leon Lett. So who's your top 5 that's currently on your team?
I don't have a top five.
Oh,
Hmm.
I honestly, I don't. Um, I am very disappointed in us right now. You know, I like Sean Lee, but he stays injured. I like. I want to see what Prescott does. We had Cobbs in our slot last year. I thought that was good, but I don't have a true top five that I'm going to tell you that I have right now.
all right. And I know you were disappointed with your team. But how did you feel about y'all last season?
Considering, I think we did well. Considering, I think the way they came back, you lose your quarterback, but y'all came back and y'all held it down. So I felt like, to me, they put together a good season in spite of the adversity. And Zeke was not running well. Let's be very clear on that. He was. I was like, can somebody get some Velcro and put it to his hands? Because if he fumbled one more game,
Hmm. Yeah, that was like the question of the whole season. Why is he fumbling so much? Because he
Because I'm gonna
characteristically
tell you why. Because
he held on to the ball his whole career. He was not a fumbler. But last season it was like, who is he?
I think some of it
Um,
was because he didn't have Zach. He didn't have Dak there because they are yin and yang. Like for real,
that's it.
they are yin and yang, and Dak could run the ball
That's it.
sometimes to take that pressure off of him.
That's it. And that's exactly what I thought. I just wanted to hear a true Cowboy fan say that, but I really believe that. I was
Yeah,
told I was wrong by somebody in a sports group, but I believe that that's correct.
I they used to say this not last but like a couple years ago. They used to say, why should we pay Dak? Dak's success leans on Ezekiel Elliott. If Zeke ain't there, Dak ain't nothing. Well, this time Dak wasn't there, and what Zeke did you get? That's what I always
garbage.
said.
That's right.
Yes,
Because all he had to do was hold on to the football. He could have still been Zeke.
thank you.
That's
But
right.
they
Couldn't.
are yin and yang. They
Hmm.
feed off of each other.
Man.
And chemistry is important in football, just as important in football as it is in basketball. And people don't, I don't think people realize that. I don't know if it's because you can't see the players because they're hidden behind pads and helmets or what, but chemistry
But
is a valid concern. It's a very critical part of a team's success.
and that's just not in the sports arena. That's in any arena.
Oh,
You can go
definitely.
in the
Definitely.
entertainment arena. If your chemistry within your camp is not good, it's not going to work.
Mhm.
Same thing with your friendships. If that chemistry is not good, that friendship is not going to have longevity.
Mm.
That's right.
So what is your expectations for this season?
Well, I'm not going to say what the rest of them going to say. We're going to win the Super Bowl. Can we? My expectation is for us to get out of the second round of the playoffs. Hashtag winning if we do that.
Man,
I feel you. I feel you.
I'm gonna have to say that was pretty good. Um, I want to give a shout out to Damon Hargrove, sports guru, who
Hmm.
was in the comments heavy. Um, Also June, happy birthday to Ryan Thomas.
Happy
It's his
birthday,
Happy
birthday.
bro.
That's my
birthday.
co-host with Talk to Ish Tuesday, and a special shout out. Well, rest in peace to Biz Marquis. That's what I want to say. Rest
Yes.
in peace to Biz
Yeah.
Marquis.
Rest
Blessings
in
to
peace,
him and
Biz.
to his family. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, hold on. Somebody said something. Damon said last year was a total opposite, and I personally think that Andy Mayberry was a joke, and that ain't happening.
He
He said on
calls
the
Andy Dalton.
Cowgirls.
Oh, you're talking about Andy Dalton.
Yeah,
Yes.
he
Yeah.
calls
He
Andy
was a
Dalton
joke.
Andy
He
Mayberry.
was a joke.
Oh, he called him Andy Mayberry.
Yeah, he calls
Yeah.
him Andy Mayberry after,
He do look like he do
the
like he from Mayberry.
Andy Griffith
Yeah.
show,
From the
Mayberry,
Andy
North
Griffith show, he do look
Carolina.
like it.
Yeah.
He do.
Had
I
no
agree.
idea. Had no idea.
Yeah, I
Okay.
knew that. I knew you wouldn't get that old reference,
No,
Dennis.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't have got that one. And they be telling me I say a lot of old stuff because I always when I
You
like days
do.
I be working too hard. I be like, boy, they got the butt off the duck today. Like, where you get that old reference from? That's what they always say. Like, where you get that old reference from?
From being around old people.
Old
Yeah.
That's
people,
what
old
happens.
spirit.
Old spirits.
But
Hmm.
Miss Victoria, I definitely want to thank you for coming out today. Sharon, do you have any more questions?
Well, the last things I want to say, tell them how to get more, tell our listeners how to get more information about the team and about the league.
You can get more information about our team on Southern Kings. So it's southern-kings.com. That's our website.
Hmm.
We are on Facebook, Tallahassee Southern Kings. We're on Instagram, Tallahassee Southern Kings. We're on Twitter, Tallahassee Southern Kings. We will officially announce our team in Tallahassee on August the 21st. We're having a big family fun day down in Cascade Park. Shout out to Mario, who has been such a blessing in helping us get this prepared and ready. Um, so follow us. We're about to start doing things, and you'll start seeing us. You'll start hearing more from us, and we're just excited to get started.
I'm excited for you. And what about the league, the basketball league?
Follow them at thebasketballleague.net.
Okay.
Miss Evelyn is an angel. She has a God-given vision, and just to see what she's doing with it, she's the only woman, black woman, to own a pro league.
Awesome. And that's Evelyn Magley, the
That's
CEO of
yes,
the basketball league.
and and I
Awesome.
and I can't forget Pops, Mr. Magley, David Magley, who's the president. That's her.
You
That's
call him
her. That's her
Pops.
back.
That's
I call
Pops.
I I call him Pops. He's my Pops. I love him to death. Um, but he supports her. He has her back. I mean, just what they're doing and how they work together, man. That's just the inspiration to any couple that's trying to build. Watch those two.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you
I
guys
when
for having me.
soon as you announced it, I said I have got to do an interview with her. Remember, I hit you up. I hit you
Yeah.
up
Yes,
in your messenger. I was like, girl, if you need me to do anything,
yes.
let me know. With the chocolate writer. But
What
then I was
happened?
like, I told Dennis, I was like, Dennis, we can interview Victoria. She's starting a team. She's getting a team. He was like, huh? I was like, yeah. So very happy, very, very happy.
Yes, we are. But yeah. This has been the side Jawn. We'll be happy to see y'all next Saturday, July 24th. We will have on Rick Watson, who is the songwriter, play director. He everywhere like broken glass. I'm telling you, this interview next week with Rick Watson will be amazing. Again, I want to thank y'all very much for everything. And this is the side Jawn. Miss Victoria, it's been great meeting you. Hopefully, we'll see you in the future. God bless. Good night.